This video is intended only to supplement the written installation instructions that accompanied your product. The written installation instructions should be read and available to you before you attempt to install the product. Before you begin the installation of the retractable downdraft vent system, refer to the installation manual for a list of recommended tools and parts you may need. The countertop cutout space for the downdraft vent should be 27.5 inches wide, allowing for 1 13/16 inches of space behind the rear overhang of the cooktop. There will need to be at least a 1/2 inch of countertop between the rear cutout edge and the backsplash. The electrical supply for the appliance must be 120 volts at 60 Hz. A dedicated circuit is recommended. The vent system must be exhausted outdoors using heavy rigid metal venting. Refer to the vent system charts in the installation manual to determine the size and number of vent sections and elbow joints required. No more than 3 90-degree elbow joints should be used, and there should be a minimum of 24 inches of straight venting between the elbow joints. A vent cap with a backdraft damper will need to be installed over the venting on the home's exterior wall, positioned at least 12 inches from the ground. Caulking should be used to seal the space around the cap. Warning: excessive weight hazard. Use 2 or more people to move and install downdraft vent. Failure to do so can result in back or other injury. Place the downdraft vent components on a blanket or a piece of cardboard so the system can be easily assembled. Measure the distance from the cabinet floor to the top of the countertop. Subtract 28.5 inches to determine where the support leg should be positioned on the vent box. If the distance between the cabinet floor and countertop is 30 inches, then the bottom of the vent box should be installed 1.5 inches from the cabinet floor. Align the support legs on the sides of the vent box and use a Phillips head screwdriver to thread the 4 screws to secure each leg. Confirm each leg is positioned the correct distance from the bottom of the vent box, then tighten the screws. The vent system can be exhausted through the bottom or through the left or right sides of the cabinet. The appliance is shipped with the blower in the down venting position. If you need to rotate the blower motor to vent to the left or right, use a number 10 Torx bit to unthread the 4 screws, securing the cover plate to the motor box. Slide the cover plate up to detach. Next, remove the 4 mounting screws securing the blower motor assembly to the motor box. Unthread the screws to release the vent cover plate from the left or right side of the box. Now rotate the blower motor assembly 90 degrees to the left or right. Avoid twisting or binding the wires. Thread and tighten the mounting screws to secure the blower motor. Align the vent cover plate on the bottom of the motor box and secure it with the screws. Reinstall the motor box cover plate by positioning it over the shoulder screws and sliding it down. Thread and tighten the 4 screws to secure. The backdraft damper should now be installed over the vent opening. An optional round vent transition with damper can be used to connect to round venting when exhausting to the left or right of the cabinet. Next, remove the 4 screws to release the terminal box cover. Depending on which side the home power supply cable will enter the terminal box, remove the appropriate knockout plug from the front or rear panel. Install a 1/2-inch diameter UL listed or CSA approved conduit connector. Now, using 2 or more people, lower the downdraft vent assembly through the countertop cutout. Center the downdraft vent so the rear flange extends over the edge of the cutout space. You can use shims to help support the vent assembly. Position the under-counter mounting brackets over the guide tabs on the sides of the vent box and slide the brackets up. Secure the brackets with tape and drill 2 pilot holes through each of the brackets into the underside of the countertop. Thread and tighten appropriate length screws to secure the 2 brackets. Confirm the downdraft vent is level. If not, you will need to uninstall the appliance and realign the support legs. Drill a pilot hole through each of the feet into the cabinet floor. Thread and tighten screws to secure the feet to the cabinet floor. Attach the left and right end caps to the top of the vent box. Position the top trim and snap it into place. Align the venting on the damper and secure. Warning: electrical shock hazard. Disconnect power before servicing. Replace all parts and panels before operating. Failure to do so can result in death or electrical shock. Be sure to turn off the power before connecting the power supply cable. Feed the power supply cable through the conduit connector and into the terminal box. Tighten the connector screw or screws to secure the cable. Warning: electrical shock hazard. Electrically ground blower. Connect ground wire to green and yellow ground wire in terminal box. Failure to do so can result in death or electrical shock. Connect the green or yellow ground wires together and secure them using an approved UL listed wire nut. Do the same to secure the 2 white wires together and the 2 black wires. With all of the wires positioned inside the terminal box, replace the cover and secure it with the screws. You can now install or reinstall the cooktop. With the cooktop fully installed and connected, turn the power supply back on, and the retractable downdraft vent system should be ready for use.